back to Silent Hill Acres. As you can see, I have my grapple out today, and I thought I would do a quick review of the grapple that I own and the reason why I chose it. Also, I'll kind of do what I did with the stump bucket, is I'll go over the specs of it, the measurements, how wide the jaws open, how wide it actually is, how deep, and all that. And also I'll go over the hookups that is used to be able to control this, and how I also control it from the operator station. So let's get started. Now, the reason why I chose the root grapple instead of the leaf rake grapple is, for me right now, I found that this would probably be more beneficial, just because there are areas of my property that I still want to clear out, and with using in conjunction with my flail mower, I can take out saplings, and they say a tree with a diameter up to about 4 inches. But the thing is that then you're still going to leave that little stump there. And with this type of grapple, it has these big teeth that jut out from the main frame, and that helps dig into the soil and kind of get those roots and get those little stumps out. Now, I'm not going to be taking out some big stump or anything like that. Anything that's, I'm guessing, less than 3 inches or so in diameter, I might be able to get them out with this. Again, if I can't, then I have my stump bucket. But I figure what I would do right now is just kind of go over some of the specs of this stump bucket, or of this grapple. So the key thing is that this is very stout steel, and looking by the measurements here, the width of this steel here is, if I can get the shadows of the sun from hitting on me, looks like it's about 3/8. Yeah, looks like 3/8 inch thick steel, and that looks like it's all the way across these bottom ones here and the tops here. And it appears to be that the tubular steel that's squared is 3 inches. So this back frame and this bottom one here is 3 inches. Same with these cross members here that are for the top grapples. I call them the points. The width of those at the back next to the tube is 7 inches, and the depth on those looks about like 8.5 inches. Also, it has looks like serrated teeth here on the top of each one of these teeth that jut out from the main bar. Okay, let me give you the width of it here, and it is almost 60 inches. It's like 59 and 15/16. The opening here is approximately, looks like about 34 and about 34 and a half. So it has a pretty good opening here, almost 3 foot at its highest point down here. The depth of it from the teeth to the back frame here, right here, is 29 inches. So you got over 2 feet of depth here to collect stuff in it. Well, now that I have the grapple fully closed, I thought I'd give you a measurement now of, actually probably a couple ones, because as you can see, this the top jaw here kind of goes up at an angle, so you're going to have probably more depth at this section here. So I would say that is roughly 17 inches for an opening there. And then I would say back here, your opening is roughly, looks like about 15 3/4. Now, that doesn't mean you can only get, a 17-inch round log in this thing. Uh, again, as big as around as that log can be, this will just clamp down onto it, and it doesn't have to be fully closed to be able to hold it within it. Key things that I found when I'm using this is that when I pick up a log, I tilt the front of the bucket where it's up and the back end. Basically, like if you're getting a load of gravel in your bucket, tilt it back like this. So this comes up, and that log will rest against the back. And then when you close your jaws down, it's going to, again, it's going to close down as far as it can, and it should hold it pretty well. Again, the key thing, I'll give two important things you got to remember. One is you need ballast on the back of your tractor here. If you don't have ballast and you go to pick up, a pretty heavy log, it can make your tractor very unsteady, especially when you're out in the woods, because, out in the woods, there's no level ground out there really. You're going to have roots, you're going to have some potholes, you're going to have other branches or limbs, and it just makes it very uncontrollable at times if all of the weight is up front on your tractor. Now, by having ballast on the back of your tractor, that helps even that load out across the whole entire tractor so that you don't have all the weight on your front axle. So that's one of the key points I want to point out here. And the second one is, don't try to pick up something that's too big. Uh, try to use some common sense when, you are picking up some heavy logs. Don't try to pick up a log that, might be, 15, 16 feet long, and it's a 20-inch diameter. It's just too big, and it's too much for that tractor to probably handle. It might be able to pick it up, but the problem is it's safe. And I try to key myself on being safe when I'm on my tractor, because 9 times out of 10, when I'm using my tractor, I'm out in the woods, I'm by myself. So if I get in a situation where, I try to pick up too big of a log or whatever, and it tips over, the tractor could roll on me, and, so it could be a while before somebody finds me. So I would highly suggest those two key things. Get ballast for the back, and don't try to pick up something too big. Backside of the grapple, the way it opens and closes is these two cylinders here, and they put these covers over them just to, keep them protected from, you know branches or any type of debris or anything that could possibly damage the fittings that go into the hydraulic cylinders that are underneath this. So um, so it has, and these are almost like somewhat individually controlled. So when it clamps down on something, let's say you're moving a big log, and you know how most trees, they'll be thinner at the top, and then they get wider as they get towards where the bottom of the ground is. Well, this will adjust to the thickness of that log. So this one, let's say if I have the top end on this side and towards the stump on this side, it's going to be a lot thicker on this end. Well, this one will close more around the log, and this one will independently close as much as it needs to to grip around the base of that log. So that's something also that if you are looking to get a grapple and you're trying to decide if you want to get a dual cylinder or a single cylinder, because they make a single cylinder type of grapple also where you just have one of these top jaws. The thing with that is that it's just going to clamp on where it can, and then you might have one end of it where it's a little bit thinner, so if you get on a side hill or anything like that, it could possibly slide out because it might have gripped into a section where it's just that thickness right there where the jaw is at, but it could still slip out. Whereas this, it's a little bit better because it has the dual jaws on it. Now, how to control your front jaws to open and close, you need to have a third function on your loader arms here at the front. So that is something that I had installed at the dealership when I purchased my tractor. And because as far as I know, the majority of tractors, unless you get a high-end one, doesn't come with a third function. So if you ever have the possibility of using a front implement that has where you need a third function, whereas for me the main thing that I use it for would be this grapple. But if you live up north where there's snow and all that, you could possibly get a snow blower. And whereas here in the south we don't get enough snow to even justify having one of those. So just keep in mind, if you buy a tractor and you're buying it brand new, or even if you buy a used one from a dealership, look into seeing if you can get the third function already added on to it. And it just makes life a little bit easier for down the road. That way you don't have to go back and have it taken care of then. So I knew I was getting a grapple for sure before I bought this tractor. So I definitely went ahead and had them add the third function onto it. A key thing is when you're attaching and detaching your hydraulic lines from your grapple, is that you always want to make sure that you have shut the engine off, and then you've taken the joystick and just kind of wiggled it. And what that does is it depressurizes your lines. So you might be able to get them decoupled if there's still pressure in them. The hardest part is when you go to connect them back together. Because if you haven't depressurized the lines, it's the lines that are in this hose here that's on your hydraulic for your grapple, is that there will be some pressure in there, and it's hard to hook them back up. So now you can, it's just you have to depressurize that line, and by doing that it just makes a huge mess. So again, when you go to hook up your hydraulic lines, or you go to disconnect your hydraulic lines, make sure you shut your tractor off, wiggle that joystick around, and you'll pretty much know that the pressure is gone. Is that your front loader, it'll go down to the ground, and then you know that you don't have any more pressure in those lines, and then it's an easy detach and hook up. So that's just a key tip that I want to throw in there. All right, hopefully I can kind of get in the frame here. I'm trying to angle the camera so you can see me and also see what I'm trying to point out in this segment. But what I'm trying to show you here is that this is how I control the front jaws of the tractor. And this one is for opening the jaws. This is one for closing the jaws. So when I also was looking for a new tractor, they can always do an add-on feature for your third function remote and these two buttons here. But what I liked about with Coyote and the this year's edition is that this is already integrated into your joystick, so you don't have to worry about adding that on later. It's always going to be there. So if you add on a third function later on, it's already got the controls here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start her up and let you see how, just pushing these buttons here will control the opening and closing of the jaws. And a key thing also, and it's going to get, I don't want to do it right now because it'll probably get too loud, but if you're doing any type of work using your grapple, you want to have your RPMs between 2,000 and 2,500. And the reasoning is that you're not only controlling the grapple functions, opening and closing the jaws, but you're also running hydraulic fluid to raise and lower and tilt the front loader. So you got to think you're going to have your RPMs up pretty high to be able to do all those three functions at the same time. So I'm not going to turn the RPMs up because it would just be too loud, but then again, I'm not really doing a whole lot of work with it right now. I'm just showing you the features of it. So here it is with the jaws wide open, and then by pushing this button here, the one on the right, closes my jaws. And then when I want to open the jaws, I push the one on the left. And that's pretty much the major function of it. And then by using your joystick, you're still able to raise the loader up, push it, lower it down, and then if you want to almost basically like dump it, like you would your bucket, you tilt it to the right to dump it, and then pull it to the left to curl it up. So in actuality, besides the up, down, and dump and curl, it works the same exact way as you would, if you just had a bucket on the front. The thing that's added is that these two buttons here will help open and close the jaws on the grapple. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. The grapple that I am using and the company or the brand that I have is also from Jobsite. It's the same company that I bought my stump bucket from and my set of pallet forks. Again, I bought them as a package deal, and they were able to give me a pretty good price by doing it that way. But I will have to say that I am very proud to buy from them. One, they're a local company in Lexington, North Carolina, and two, they are actually made right there on the premises. So they are proudly made in the United States, which I'm a very big supporter. If I can buy American made, I can. So, and I've noticed the quality of the equipment. It's solid. There's, to me, there's looks like there's no weak points. All the welds that I've noticed on whether it be the grapple or the stump bucket, everything is solidly built, and so I feel very comfortable using this stuff. But I promise that I will get some more uh, videos out there of me actually using the equipment. But what I've decided on doing, I think I just said earlier, is that I would like to do a series of just doing reviews of the equipment. And then once I've done that, that way I don't have to go back and kind of explain, this piece of equipment, that piece of equipment. I've already done videos on it, and then I don't have to go into great detail. I can just go straight to work, and you guys will have already known, what the dimensions are, um, what I can use it for, what I'd want to use it for. So until then, hope you guys stay with me. I've noticed when I put out videos of me using, the tractor or going over some, uh, the attachments, that is getting, the most views on my YouTube channel. So I'm going to try to do more of that, but I am still going to do the segments for, deer season. That is one of my passions is deer hunting. And lucky for you, if you're not into, deer hunting and deer management and food plots and all that kind of stuff, the season only lasts for a short period of time. But to maintain a good property and to maintain a good deer management, you have to be doing it, year round. It's not something that, you're just doing, 3 months out of the year. For me, it's a year round process. And by me wanting to make this, a better property, I have been able to buy equipment, the tractor, the grapple, and all the other attachments to make it easier for me to be able to manage the land and be able to work it better. So I hope you can stick along, get through some of the deer hunting stuff if you're not into that. And if you are into deer hunting, but you're not into tractors, well, hopefully you can get through that too. As I've stated numerous times, I'm just not a one genre channel. I like to cover, a lot of different things. So I'm hoping that if you're watching this video and you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button. It just encourages me more to do more videos, uh, and I'm trying to get my content even better. The editing thing, I'm not a computer guru or anything like that. I kind of fumble through with trying to do my editing and that. So, but hopefully, as I do more, I'll get better at it. And by people watching more of my videos, it just encourages me to put more out there. So I'm hoping that, again, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. So until next time, I'll talk to you later.